Welcome to this week's live, where I'm going to be talking about how to be unconditionally content regardless of your relationship status. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, but platonic relationships as well. So, a bit of my background on this is some of you who've been following me for a while know that I talk about my combination of avoidant and anxious attachment styles. So, for a lot of my life, I was very much okay with didn't really care about having a relationship or not, and was very okay with being independent because that's the avoidant attachment part of me was very okay with that. I also when I was young I came across Gala Darling's work, who's all about radical self-love and taking yourself out on dates and romancing yourself and all of that. So for a while I was very comfortable with being single. And then I guess, but later on, I think even more recently now, I'm kind of understanding more the perspective of really wanting to have a partner or even wanting. 'Cause this is what I'll touch on more. There's a similar thread between wanting a partner and wanting certain kinds of platonic relationships. Um, but yeah, wanting, different kinds of relationships and just not having it in your reality and kind of feeling like that mismatch, and that can be hard, when your desires aren't matching your reality. So I want to touch a bit about that. There's a distinction between authentic desire and desires that are coming from needs, like unmet needs. So I think a lot of us are actually kind of living, it's pretty, unless you kind of are going through an awakening of some sorts or a healing journey, pretty much the normal status is to not be aware of your childhood and how that's affecting your adult desires. So a lot of our longings for partners actually comes from unmet needs is from when we were little, and then as adults we actually seek to get those needs met in relationship. So it's so if you find yourself wanting and desiring for a partner, and it feels a bit painful to not have that, I would pretty much 90% say it's probably related to inner child work. So in this situation, it's just inner child work is a journey, but I always like to just tune into for example, let's say you feel that pang of oh, I want a partner but I don't have one right now, and you feel that pang of the pain of not having that, then just tune into yourself, maybe breathe into your belly and just ask yourself what do I need in this moment? So maybe it's just this is kind of the underlying thing of many addictions too. It's just the desiring of the dopamine hit, that love essentially. So it's okay, if you find yourself, okay, I need love right now, then what and how can you give that to yourself in that moment? Because the thing is, what relationships do, what the beautiful thing about relationships is that they're a mirror for us. They help us activate certain things within ourselves that we might not have um, realized we were capable of feeling. So, for example, maybe a partner or friend, they brought up like they were they were your fun friend and they helped you go on adventures and expand your horizons. And if that relationship is gone, you might be feeling a lack of, oh no, now I don't have that. You might be missing the person, but maybe what you're actually missing is having that sense of fun and adventure. And that's the thing that's not restricted to that person. That was always within you, but they just helped unlock that. So differentiating between needs and desire. Desire is a beautiful thing. And I think, for example, let's say if you're oh, it'd be really nice to cuddle someone right now. Um, you can generate the feeling of imagining what that feels like and just generate that feeling within yourself. Um, there's this channeling done by Isis, and she was talking about there's more than one way to make love than by physically having sex. You can make love by having eye contact or a conversation, and you can feel that energy flow. Think about those moments when you're staring out to nature and just really feeling at one with everything. Like in those moments, you don't feel an incompleteness within yourself, or like a lack. And the thing is, like when we feel like that lack, when we don't have a certain relationship, that's actually calling us to feel what we think is missing within ourselves, that actually is within ourselves. So that is kind of like a spiritual practice and like cultivating that that quality, whatever we think that is missing from us. So, but it can be kind of hard because we have, I think I like how Miriam Hassan calls it like a toxic romance culture, the you complete me culture. We're kind of bred into this idea of like one day you'll meet your soulmate and your life will be complete. And the thing is, we just really have to deprogram ourselves from that because it's just normalizing codependency and inner children aren't, who haven't grown up essentially, right? So yeah, I think that's a practice. So, and for example, like even with like things, so like, yeah, like for example, like sexual energy, it's like how can you kind of bring that feeling? Like, maybe you can bring it into like a dance practice that you have, or like, the classic thing with like baths or giving yourself a massage. That kind of thing, it can be kind of gendered. Like I know Louis C.K. He made a joke about like how self pleasure for women, it's like flowers on the bed and like sensual music, and then for like like, and this is gonna be really cis hetero, like it's Louis C.K. But like for dudes, it's like you're kind of like hiding in a closet and like jerking off, and that like that sensual thing isn't kind of encouraged in dudes. And I think that's kind of like maybe it will look different if you're a guy, but like I encourage you to kind of think about like if you're single and you want a relationship, it's kind of like how can you cultivate like that feeling in more ways than just like physical sex, right? So yeah, that's something to think about. This is also, yeah, like I had a question in Nerds for Healing about like how to like not let wanting romance distract you from like your goals. And I think that this is basically the answer is romancing yourself, right? And meeting your inner child's needs. So I'm going to do a tapping routine for those who feel like this is something that they want to work on. But also before I get into that, I want to touch on platonic relationships as well, because I think a lot of us we're taught this idea of like, love yourself first and then like focus on loving others. Um, have a complete life within yourself and then like focus on like getting a relationship, whatever. Um, but I think like that also extends to like friendships too. I think a lot of times when we're going through changes, like our friendship circles, they might not reflect what we want them to actually be. Maybe we're feeling like we're lacking in like true, authentic connections, and we're feeling pretty isolated. And that same thing applies of like feeling that feeling. Like, what do you feel like when you feel connected, um, like with your friends? And like, if you're feeling isolated, is there a way that you can like bring that feeling within yourself, like connect to things greater than you? There's an illusion of separation. Truly, we're all connected to other humans and to non-humans, and it's like the web of life, right? And so, in what ways can you kind of tap into that feeling of connection when you're feeling isolated? So yeah, because that one tripped me up for a bit because I got the be complete without a partner pretty down pat, but I found it more challenging on the friends aspect. So yeah, let's do a bit of a tapping routine if you want to work on this. And yeah, if you don't know what it is, it's psychological acupuncture based on traditional Chinese medicine, and you just tap on the points. You can follow after me or, freestyle to whatever suits whatever feelings that are more authentic to you. So, begin at the karate chop point. So, even though I really, really, really want a partner right now, or I'm feeling isolated because my friendship circles aren't reflecting what I want, I just feel so lonely at times. And I really want my relationships to be different. I feel a huge lack. Sometimes I feel desperate to find your relationships or find other friends. But even though sometimes I feel lonely and feel lack in my life, I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. I choose to release this idea that I'm somehow lacking, that my life isn't fulfilling because I don't have a partner or the friendships that I want. The truth is, what I'm looking for outside of me is already within me. And sometimes I forget about that, but I'm choosing to remember it now. I'm choosing to commit to loving myself, loving my inner child, and feeling whole and complete within myself. Because I deeply and completely love, accept, and forgive myself. Okay, so there it is. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next week. Same time, Mondays at 4:30 PT. Okay, bye.